Hey there everybody, Eric from Outer Limitless coming at you today with another video. Now in today's video, we're here to talk about Zenbivy. Zenbivy. Yes, Zenbivy. Zenbivy is a company whose products I've come to greatly enjoy and appreciate, but most specifically and most importantly, I trust them. Zenbivy products are awesome. I love them. I've used them at length. And here in my hands, this is the Zenbivy Light Quilt, their Zenbivy Light Kit. I have used this for a little over a year now. It's been about a year and a half worth of use, and this Zenbivy quilt has been awesome. I've brought it with me as almost my exclusive sleep system in a number of different environments. I've greatly enjoyed it. It's kept me comfortable, but I've really been able to stay warm. That is the key. This here being the 25-degree kit, it's about perfect for me in almost every scenario. But here now, this is the 2022 edition. The same setup, only they're modified, just making some improvements, advancing. So the 2022 quilt here, this is now going to be what I bring in this year's backpacking trips. So what we're gonna do, I'm gonna get these side by side. I'm gonna show you the original Zenbivy Light Kit and then the new 2022 edition side by side, kind of compare them, contrast them, see what's changed. And then in a later video, I'm going to get these out into the field together for some good quality field use. But with that said, I have a whole bunch to do and a whole bunch to share with you. And if you're interested in seeing a little bit more about what I'm about to get into, do me a favor, stay tuned. Now before we get too far, I would like to say thank you very much to the people at Zenbivy who did provide this for review. So again today, a little more of the in-studio look at this. Now, what I really do need to do is bring you through the original Zenbivy in terms of how it's held up. Now, as I mentioned, I have used this at exceptional length, so it would be a great opportunity for everybody to see this, see how it's held up, and give a little bit of feedback to the people at Zenbivy. But on top of that, breaking out this 2022 kit, getting it fully set up, we're going to look at it side by side with the original. And so with that, let's get into the action. And so the first thing, this entire kit is the 25-degree light kit, made of 800 fill power, hyper light down. These are just beautiful. So as you see here, the 800 fill power, these are all responsibly sourced down. And as you can see here again, the 800 fill power, and they call this the hyper light down. And that was the first thing when I got this original in my hands and just started feeling how good this feels. It is just beautiful. So Zenbivy doing a wonderful job. Their manufacturing has been spot on. The quality of their products spot on. The warmth, everything about it. This is a luxurious product. But here you can see it does come sort of in this storage bag. It's good to keep all of your down products fully lofted in storage so that they're not compressed and they're not sort of leaving cold spots. So here you can see this nice storage sack. Allows it to breathe, nice mesh, and just kind of stay fully lofted. Now I do typically hang my down products. I'm running out of a little bit of room, so having a nice little mesh storage bag might come in handy. Now this 25-degree quilt, you can see here with the Zenbivy logo. This is in black and orange. I love the way this looks. I think it's a fantastic contrast. Looks really good. I'm actually very excited to have this black with the nice orange on the inside. Now, this actually, for me, has kind of a dual purpose in mind. The nice thing being the dark black on the outside keeps me nice and subdued. If you've been watching my channel, you'll realize I really do like to blend into my environment. So sometimes I don't want loud colors. In fact, when you look around here, pretty much the only orange that you see is on my storage bins. And apart from that, I do really like to maintain a very low profile. But if you watch a lot of survival or you're really kind of into that, it is always nice to have good, bright, blaze orange. Having this on the inside makes this dual purpose. If you came into a situation where you really needed to be found, flip this around, get it over your shoulders, keep yourself warm while you're waiting for help, but having that nice bright orange could definitely come into play. I hope it won't, but if you needed it, at least you have it. As you look down the side of the quilt, you will notice a number of loops. So here, a whole bunch of loops, and towards the bottom, a number of clips. This is how this attaches to the rest of the system. The interesting thing about Zenbivy, they approach sleep systems pretty much completely different from everybody else. It consists of the quilt. It also consists of what's called the sheet, but we'll get into that in a minute. You do have the ability to configure your foot box area a number of different ways. So if you want to taper it down, reduce the volume, and really make it more of a mummy system, you can certainly do that. You actually leverage some of the loops and some of the clips on the bottom to clip this all together. You can cinch it down using this little bungee toggle here, and then on top of that, certain parts of it snap together. So this is really going to be tight. It's really going to compress if you need to, or you leave all of this wide open and get a nice little ventilation and flow through your feet. Now also what I found on the sides is you can clip this all the way up the sheet if you want, or you can just sort of pick and choose what you clip. That to me is what makes this such a versatile system, and the ability to really span multiple seasons, even for me with the 25-degree bag. Now in my environment, the 25-degree bag is perfect. It actually gets me through the depth of winter. It actually allows me to go through the summer. If I'm careful and I manage my body temperature and my body moisture effectively, I can be absolutely perfectly comfortable, not cold in all seasons. It does require some additional layering at times for the colder months. It really does rely on me to fully strip down in the summer months, but with this, you can do it, and I can absolutely regulate my body temperature almost to perfection. And just finally, as we look across the top of the quilt, this has a real nice lofted baffle that kind of goes all the way around. And then outside of that, you actually have a bit of a cinch. Now, I'm not 100% sure, but I feel like this might be constructed a little different than the original. I don't quite remember this detail, so we're going to take a look at that in a little bit while we have both of these set up side by side. But what you'll notice is there is no hood on this. The reason being, well, the hood comes on the sheet. And so here, this is the 25-degree light sheet. As you look here, you'll notice literally it is a sheet, but it has baffles and these sort of down features on it to add to the overall system. So you'll notice this is where you have the hood. It actually has some sort of wings down the side with some protection for you, and this entire thing is what actually connects directly to your quilt. So as you look here, you'll notice again some clips. You'll notice in other locations you do have some loops. So between the clips and loops going all the way around, this is what allows you to connect this to your system. Now you'll notice this is in blue and also little accents in orange and some black. So again, this is the 2022 edition. For me, the blue is going to be a miss. I can't stand blue, to be honest with you, but at the same time, I do have to say thank you to the people at Zenbivy for providing this. Beggars can't be choosers, but in my opinion, I just personally don't like blue, and in fact, if you look around here, you won't find blue anywhere. They do offer this in their green and orange, which I personally prefer. Their green is very nice. I love it. I think it looks awesome. And then again, having the advantage of some of that orange if you need to. Most of this does get covered by the quilt, but in my opinion, I just personally would prefer the green. But again, that's a personal preference thing. The color, for the most part, has absolutely nothing to do with the performance. Now, as you look inside here, you'll see this does say 20. That's because you can get this sheet in multiple sizes. So this is meant to fit the 20 by 72 mattress. That is the size mattress that I have, so that's what's going to be leveraged with this system. For the most part, not a heck of a lot to this. You'll see later on this does go on the mattress pad. There are some straps in the back that allow this to connect to the mattress pad itself and kind of cinch everything down, hold it into place. So this is definitely an integral part of the system. And you can get this in different weights. So if you kind of wanted to mix and match for different reasons, you could certainly do so. Again, for me, I find the 25-degree is about perfect. Now, do I always tuck my head into here? No. But if I'm going to tuck my head into something, it's because it's really darn cold. So at that point, having the 25-degree lofted 800 down is going to be key. And so here, this is the 20 by 72 light mattress. As you can see here, it starts life nicely compact and nicely folded, and Zenbivy does a great job getting this to where it needs to be. And then you get ragamuffins like me that just struggle to pack things the neat way. Do the best I can, but when you're out on the trails and you're fighting, battling, and trying to get out of the elements, sometimes this is how your stuff ends up. And so you can see you do have the ability to really make this nice and tidy if you take your time. Just personally for me, I'm a little bit sloppy like that, but this has worked out just fine. Now, the interesting thing is this actually has a nice insulation layer inside of it. That is where this Zenbivy product really starts to pull away from a lot of the competition. You end up with that beautiful insulation on top of the mattress, so when you're lying down, you just have that nice soft layer. This Zenbivy mattress is absolutely awesome. I love it. It's great, and even if I wasn't using the rest of my Zenbivy kit, this would come with me. Now, this is going to be just a little bit heavier and a little bit bulkier than other options out there, but not by much. I mean, for the actual added benefits that you get from having that nice insulated layer, it's just awesome. And it doesn't matter if it's summer, it doesn't matter if it's winter. To me, always having that insulated layer beneath you is critical. If there's one place you're going to get cold, it's definitely going to be on your back. Now, for me personally, I spend a huge amount of time hammock camping. Most of what I do is in a hammock. The bulk of where I've used this is in a hammock. So your experience might vary depending on if you're more of that ground camper or you like to hang in the trees. Personally, for me, I do like to hang in the trees. And at this point, while I'm on that topic, I do suggest to the people at Zenbivy making a hammock specific mattress. I think that would come into play. I think it would enhance their system. I think they could use all their existing components pretty effectively. So maybe just an additional mattress for that hammock camping experience. Now, you'll notice on my original, this does have a valve. It's actually a one-way valve. Gives you the ability to inflate this. I've been doing it with my breath. Everybody says you shouldn't do that. You're going to cause mold and you're going to get mold in your mattress. Honestly, if there's mold in this, I really don't care. I don't think there is. In fact, I'm pretty darn confident on that. But what you really intended to do is use an inflation bag. So you take one of these sort of dry sacks. It's a dual purpose dry sack and inflation bag. You connect it to this and you waste all your time and energy trying to catch air and blow this thing up when you could just blow it up with like 12 or 13 breaths and you're moving on. But this here, again, this is the one that was sent with this. I believe it's going to be the exact same size. So this says it's a 7-liter. We'll check that out. This one here just says it's small. I don't know the size, but Zenbivy did send this one this time. So we'll take a look at it. We'll try it out. We'll see how it works when we get this inflated. Zenbivy also sending what's called a compression cap. So you can use this in conjunction with your actual dry sack. Once you get everything stowed in there, you can take your Zenbivy quilt, you can pack it inside and compress everything down. So we're definitely going to do that and see how this works out. So definitely cool. I like this. And last but not least, you can see my original light pillow. Now, unfortunately, at this point, I seem to have lost, there was like a little stuff sack that this came with. I mean, a very little stuff sack. But overall, this has worked out very well, and I think I have probably my pillow stuff sack inside the stuff sack of another stuff sack and another stuff sack if I know the way I operate. And at some point, I'll find it. But in the meantime, here's an example. If you look here of the pillow, it's extremely lightweight. It's very compact. It is so small by the time you get everything really sort of worked all the way down. It's extremely light, but it's also comfortable. You have the ability to dial it in. It has a nice little valve inside and allows you to sort of tweak it the way you need. But here you'll see, well, here's the new one that was sent for 2022. So inside here, going to take a real quick look. You can see it is going to be that bright orange to match the set with the black stuff sack. And this gives you an example of the stuff sack. Very small, extremely compact. I mean, look how tiny this little pillow is. So having this is awesome. Even if you're not a Zenbivy quilt owner, having their pillow is a nice touch. So the other thing I'd like to point out just about certain things where this is perfectly clear and you can see through this. I mean, no indication of mold at all. I mean, I blow in this every time. I'm not using some crazy wonky bag to inflate this. I'm literally blowing into this every time, and there is zero indication that there's anything going on in here. So when people say there's mold inside all your sleeping pads, I think that's been fairly well debunked at this point. But with that, let's get both of these set up and we'll do a side-by-side comparison. All right, so now getting both of these inflated to just about the exact same amount. As you can see here, bringing in at 4 minutes and 50 seconds. So I mean, it's not a crazy amount of time to use the inflation bag, but there's definitely some challenges. First and foremost, you'll notice, I mean, you really have to like lay the thing out. And I don't know about you, but most of the places where I actually go and camp, I do not want my sleep system on the ground. Absolutely not. And especially with something that's going to be around down, the last thing I do with my down products is drag them on the ground, and I don't want my, the rest of my system getting dirty and then dragging it into my shelter system. So a little bit weird to me. I mean, does it work? Of course it does, but personally, I'd just rather blow the thing up. And so now as we get into the details, these are fully set up, ready to go, ready for some good use. Now, with that, there are some similarities, there are some differences. It's kind of subtle, but at the same time, it's worth pointing out. This here being the 2022 version, they have made some differences in at least the quilt and some minor differences from what I can tell in the sheet. Now let's get started here. I do want to revisit the original just briefly. There are a few things worth noting. After all kinds of use, there were a couple stress points here that sort of left a little bit of a weakness. I do have some sort of fraying here, and this is opening up just a bit on me. I'm curious if this has been reinforced at all for 2022. Haven't quite looked at it yet, but we're going to figure that out. Now that's on the sheet itself, but to note on the quilt, you'll notice all of these baffles are pretty much running in the same direction. I'm going to call these horizontal baffles, so while you're laying down, these are all sort of perpendicular, they're horizontal, and so if you look here from the bottom all the way to the top, you'll notice the direction of the baffles all the same. Moving forward now into the 2022 edition, up at the top there, it looks to be pretty much the same construction. So this is something that I would say moving forward, Zenbivy does need to pay attention to. This particular section right here, where the hood meets down onto the actual side portion of the sheet, needs to be reinforced. That is a heavy stress point, and again, I just re-emphasize the fact that on my original version, on both sides, that is pulled out, and actually it is at the point where down could potentially come out of there if I'm not careful. So we'll see how the 2022 edition holds up. Now, I do also want to say I stress on my system pretty hard where I get in it in a hammock scenario. It's going to be a little different if you're on the ground and you can be a little more careful, but if you've ever hammock camped, you do know that you do put a lot of stress on your equipment and your sleeping bag as you're trying to shimmy your way in, get into that hammock, not fall out of the thing, get inside and really establish your warmth. So this can be a little bit different depending on the user, but for me, I know that's going to be a stress point. But now getting into the actual quilt itself, you'll notice the baffles now do change. So you have those horizontal baffles up to about maybe your waistline, and then they go into more vertical baffles. So if you look here, these then change direction. They are literally 90 degrees from each other. So again, those horizontal baffles transitioning into vertical baffles. Now, I'm not sure what the reasoning for that is. I know that there's sort of different mentalities out there in terms of baffle construction. I'm sure that Zenbivy got a lot of feedback, did a bunch of research, and determined this would be the best move for them. So I do believe in this. There's definitely going to be some science behind this and the reason why they did it, but it's just something worth noting. Now some more subtleties. As you look at the original version, you'll notice that there were two straps that hold the sheet onto the bottom of the mattress. Here, if we sort of shift over here to the 2022 edition, similar yet at the same time different. This does seem to be a little snugger. I'm not sure what it is, but it feels kind of tight to me as I fit it on the actual mattress. And then there's only one strap now holding it in place. Slightly different, but at the same time, similar construction, and then sort of this open loop. Now, I don't know if the idea is that you can fit this sheet on all kinds of different mattresses, not just the Zenbivy products, so maybe there's a reason why having this just gives you some functional flexibility. I'm not really too sure. But other than that, the construction actually seemingly similar. I couldn't find any notable difference on the actual mattress itself, so they do look to be the exact same mattress from what I can tell. And so as I had mentioned, I saw this drawstring across the top of the 2022 edition. You can see here, it does give you the ability to sort of cinch this down and get it tucked up around your shoulders to keep your warmth in. And then over on this side too, you just see like a little remains of the loop there. So definitely some function built into this collar. That was not the case with the original. So as you look here, it's not really even that same sort of baffle design. You end up here with that defined baffle. You can see where the black ends off, and then going into the orange, well, that would be the equivalent here of the green leading into the gray, but you notice no gray hanging over the end. That's because there is no cinch. There's no way to really tighten this down, so it is a difference in the overall design. And that could be too why they went to the vertical baffles, to allow this to kind of wrap around you a little bit better and not leave any pockets or open areas without any down. That's going to be the key, the ability to keep yourself perfectly enveloped in that down so you stay warm and you don't develop any cold spots. Now again, I'm just going to talk about aesthetics a little bit because to me that's kind of a big deal. It's not make or break, and I'm going to premise this part of the conversation by saying what I'm about to talk about has nothing to do with the capabilities. This system is fantastic. I trust it, and that's the biggest part of this deal. But when it gets to the sort of aesthetic appeal, I love the original version. I love how they approached it, and it looks very good to me. I love the green. I love the gray. I even love how you kind of offset with the yellow in terms of your sort of clip design. This works just well for me. It looks good. Then when you get to the inside, again, your sheet is the same green. You end up with the green through the hood, the gray all around, and this kind of alternate color pillow. The only place you get that alternate color is in the pillow. I think it's kind of unique. I think it's interesting. It looks great. I love the way this plays off itself. It just works. The 2022 edition, I'm trying to formulate my opinion. It's kind of growing on me a little bit, and I have to admit, the blue is even growing on me just a little bit. However, what I don't think I like, and this might be what I asked for. When I work with companies, oftentimes I get to choose what I kind of want for features. At other points in time, they kind of pick for me. This is a mishmash of both. I asked for the black and orange. I got the black and orange, but at the same time, they sent the blue and orange pad. So what I kind of don't like is how many colors I have going on here. I end up with the orange. I end up with the blue. There's a little bit of gray showing up in the corner of the pad. Then I get from the black all the way up through, again, the orange. You'll notice when we get up into the hood area, we end up with all these different colors. So from the blue under here to the orange and the black, and then the alternate color being just this completely different orange. If this was simply black and orange, and then the actual sheet itself was just black and orange, and the alternate color was this brighter orange, I think this would be awesome. I think a little bit different than most people. These products tend to be tailored towards the backpacking community. The backpacking and camping community products oftentimes do change color from year to year to year. I see that through packs. I see that through tents. I see that through all kinds of gear. Their colors do change. For me personally, I'm more tactical. I'm more, I don't know, subdued colors. So when I see the original in the green, I like it. I want something that's simple. I want something that's clean, and I want to blend into the background. I don't like having sort of quite the mix and match of colors. It's a little too loud for me. Not a big deal. Again, just personal preference. And just again, a minor subtlety in the pillows. You can see they've changed the location of their logo on the pillow. Not a big deal, very simple, but at the same time, just something worth noting. And finally, to wrap up, keep in mind both of these are 25-degree bags. Moving into the future, I am going to have full field use videos on these. I'm looking forward to getting this out into the field and demonstrating its capabilities. Again, I trust these systems. They're absolutely awesome. You can definitely regulate your temperature. That is a big deal. So I'm saying not just stay warm, but even stay cool when you need to. So having the versatility, the flexibility, and the overall trust I have with my ability to regulate my temperature, that is absolutely a must. And so again, as I mentioned, the next thing for me, getting this out into the field for some good quality field use. That is absolutely where this is going to shine. It's one thing to talk about it here. It's another to get out into the mountains, enjoy my time, and just have good quality, luxurious sleep. Again, this is going to be probably, in my opinion, the most complete setup from beginning to end. So everything working together as a system, working from the bottom up with the pad, having that awesome insulation layer, absolutely luxurious, tying into that sheet with the awesome hood just keeping you nice and warm, the ability to really tuck your head in there, fantastic, clipping into this wonderful quilt, the redesign for 2022 having some subtle additional features. I think that's going to be nice. I can't wait to test it in the field. And then that light pillow, very comfortable, adjustable, and you can dial it into exactly as you like it. So again, the Zenbivy, from bottom to top, absolutely fantastic. I love it. So again, thank you very much to the people at Zenbivy for providing this full review. And for the rest of you, if you like this content, do me a favor, take a look at my Outer Limitless 2 channel, which is more on the tactical and firearm side of things. At this point, that channel is growing quickly. I have a ton of videos up there. So if you like what you see here on Outer Limitless, do me a favor and check me out on Outer Limitless 2. So all right, guys, thanks for stopping by. I hope you like what you saw. I hope you found it a little bit informative. If you like what you saw, please like, share, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for stopping by. Take care now. I'll see you soon.